Hello. I'm feeling a little bit antsy. Okay. I've been adjusting my hat like a bunch of different times. Um, but this video isn't about me and my wardrobe functions or malfunctions or whatever. That's just in my own head. Hairs everywhere in this place. So, this is what I believe the Lord was giving me. So the title of this video is most likely going to be something along the lines of Lost and Found, Waiting to be Located. I want to describe to you what it has felt like for me, but what I feel like is the season of transition, the season of being in the wilderness. You've heard many things. The season where you are waiting on God to open the next door. You're waiting on God and He is preparing you for your next season. So you're not quite there. You're like in this in-between place. And what it has felt like for me is like being in a lost and found box. Being put in a lost and found box. Where at first you're just like, oh, okay, surely someone's going to locate me. But the more that each day passes and no one has come to get you, you start to feel, or what I've started to feel, and I don't feel like, I feel like you just can't help but feel that life has not existed outside of this lost and found box. You start to believe that this environment is where you belong. The lost and found box is where everything is not placed, meaning the people that have owned it lost it, and it ended up in the box. And so the things inside the box share that in common. This is probably like a Toy Story theme. That's what I'm getting from it. Is like whenever Andy in Toy Story 3 or something got older and he just put away his toys or something. It's like, well, those toys had to keep living. Right? They were being prepared. They were being transitioned. They didn't know it. It took that event. But this is what it has felt like for me. Being in a lost and found box where the Lord is with me there. Kind of like out on the outside, on the outskirts of town where nobody is. Where He has hidden me. Where He has ensured that I'm no longer sustained by external validation. Because the environment that I had before this nowhere environment, before this lost and found box, was one where my identity was kind of sustained or propped up by these external validations. But there was only a certain amount of growth that I was going to experience in this old habitat. Right? It's like the imagery of a fish out of water. And so the fish is stronger in the water. But whenever the fish outgrows the bowl that he's in, right, he has to be put into a different bowl, one that is larger. But the in-between, he's very, very weak. Because his natural habitat is to be, kind of feel like at home. So you get used to having this home, but then you outgrow the home that you were in. And it's like God takes you and He doesn't put you in an immediate home right away, but instead He puts you in the wilderness. He puts you in this in-between place. He has you in the lost and found box until it is time for Him to locate you and then to relocate you, to put you where you are going. But it's so strange to be a fish out of water. It's so strange to live, to exist in a lost and found box. It's not really a place you can get comfortable because you're reminded every day that this is not home. It doesn't feel like home. It's not home. You're like, I can't get comfortable here. I've told that to God. I can't get comfortable here. And I feel like He's just like, this is by design. I hate when He says that, by the way. I used to like it. Now I hate it. This is by design, Brandon. You're not supposed to get comfortable here. You're not supposed to get used to this. This is not a place to get used to. I've taken you out of an old habitat where you were able to grow to a certain extent, but a lot of what had you feeling safe and where your identity was wrapped up in is these external validations. It's what people could see about you and you finding safety in how they validated you. Well, I want to take you away from that because there's very limited freedom in that if I were to keep you in that old environment. So I'm putting you in a new environment. But before I put you in this new environment, before I relocate you, I have to put you here. That's all good and fine, right? Maybe you're in the lost and found box for a day, 2 days. You're like, oh, no, he's coming for me. He's coming for me. But there's a certain prolonged, agonizing death that I've experienced, which is he hasn't come for me yet. He's with me, but he hasn't relocated me. I can't become comfortable here. My home is not here. I used to feel at home because I had these external validations, and this was the old fishbowl that I was in. I'm no longer in that fishbowl. I am a fish out of the old water environment, and now I'm out of water, and I've never been more weak. And I'm like, God, you're coming for me, right? He's like, I'm coming for you. And faith is, I'm not lost because he knows where I am. But part of the faith part, with I'm walking where I can't see, is I don't know where I am. And I don't know where I'm going. I become aware of this. I've become aware of this to such a severe degree. It's very humbling to know whenever you're in a lost and found box waiting to be relocated. The owner of the item is coming to pick that item up. But when is he going to pick that item up? Now think about being in a season of living nowhere, basically. Because that's what I believe a season of transition will feel like. And I don't think your heart and your soul knows the difference. And I think this is where we are appropriately weak. That we don't need to try to will our mind and be like, no, he's coming for me, he's coming for me. It's like, I don't think you need to do that. Your heart and your soul, your emotions are just like, I'm disappointed. This is devastating. Like, I'm grieving because I've left behind everything that I knew before. And I don't know what's ahead. And I feel like I've been forsaken. I'm in this lost and found box. And now I've been here so long that I believe I belong here. So I believe I belong nowhere. I think this is actually one of my biggest fears. I'm living with him, one of my biggest fears, which is whenever I saw that movie Left Behind as a kid, I thought I was going to be the one left behind because it's something I wasn't doing right, something that I couldn't get that other people could get. And I thought it was a whole God thing. So I was always like kind of the doubting Thomas or something. That's what people called me, or that's what I called myself. And I had a hard time. I was like, if it's on me to believe, I'm going to be left behind. Because people seem to get this thing and I don't get it. And so he has taken me into that very same nightmare. But I've been living with the Lord in this nightmare. And he says, and I receive by faith and I believe by faith that it is a place of transition. Meaning I don't belong here in this lost and found box. But your heart and your soul, my heart and my soul doesn't really know the difference. It's just been here so long that it is just experiencing this. And my mind has worn thin. I'm just like, I don't even know if there was ever life before this or after this lost and found box. I'm lost. And I thought maybe he would come for me by now, but since he hasn't, I've died. But what comes to me is the thing in the word or whatever, the Bible, where it talks about the seed, before it can actually sprout, it has to die. And that's really what it is. I think that seed dies in the wilderness when you're in a place of transition, right? Because rivers of living water come where? To the desert. Miracles happen in dry places. Breakthroughs happen where there needs to be a breakthrough. Way maker, knowing him as the way maker and the redeemer of your life. You have a life that needs to be redeemed. The old life has passed away, but I'm being prepared for this new life, and I don't understand anything. And I feel so weak because my old environment, I had this water that I was in. I didn't even know how dependent upon that external validation I was until I was taken away from it. And like withdrawing from drugs or something. You don't know that you had a dependence upon it until you try to stop doing it. And I think in this way, the imagery of fasting and going into the wilderness and being tempted by the devil plays perfectly here. It's not me that is getting me to fast, but it is by the Spirit. By the Spirit I have waited. By the Spirit I have been waiting to be endued with power or whatever. I don't even know exactly what I'm waiting for. I've just gotten so used to this lost and found box that I'm just like, I don't know of anything after this. But faith is increasing in me. But it seems to be very much, he has his eye on the prize or his eye on the ball or whatever, both. And I am too weary in my weak state to be able to look up. Because that lost and found box, after a while, makes a very convincing argument that you don't belong anywhere. So maybe you're experiencing that. Because it's a death to what your life was before, what sustained your life before. And so if it was external things that fed you, if you were the one feeding yourself, to be taken into the wilderness, to be prepared, to be set free, you're going to die to who you used to be. But then you're in a lost and found box, and you're not who you were before, and you don't know who you are now or who you're becoming. And so you truly feel lost. You truly feel lost. And you're like, is he coming for me? He says he is. My faith is wrapped up in, he says he is. I'm trusting him, and I made a video about this, but I don't feel like I can trust him because he has put me here. And he said, don't get too comfortable here. We're not staying here forever. But it seems like there has been no place before this because I've been here so long. Maybe you're experiencing that. Or maybe I'll just look back at one of my videos and be like, oh my God, I was really going through it. It's not just like you just figure this shit out like the day of or something. You have to like go through it and be in it to be like, oh my God. And maybe because I'm coming out of it, I can see how severe it actually has been. Maybe, right? Maybe the tides are turning, right? And the Lord, the Father, is like, oh, you know what? I have a son in that lost and found box. I think I ought to go pick him up. That's what it can feel like, right? I'm like an afterthought or something. That's what the lost and found box will do to a person. So if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And I think it's set up that way. Because really all you have when you're in this place of transition is a promise. A promise of what? A new life. But what was the old life? The life that was propped up by you. That was sustained by most likely external validations. It doesn't just have to be people. It could be like for me, it was like my self-image or something. But it was only really what people could see about me, because I was never really able to see it in myself. I've always felt like, and maybe you've seen this video, where like it's like geese or something. Geese will look at their, it's so sad too. They will look at themselves in the mirror for a long time, right? And they say they do this because of loneliness when they lose a partner. So when they lose a partner, the geese or whatever, they will stare at the reflection. And I was like, I know what that's like. Because I will look in the reflection of myself just to make sure that I'm still there, because I don't feel like I'm anywhere. That's just been what my experience has been like. Even right now, I'm looking at myself. because I can't like help it. It's like I'm constantly sending like a ping or a distress signal out into the cosmos to be like, do I exist? Am I anywhere? What is it to be a person? I don't even know, because what I thought it was has passed away. And what I'm becoming, I have no idea. But in order for you to become, for us to become our fullest potential, I would say, that what God has for you and for me, an old life does have to die. And in order for things to sprout up, that seed has to die. Where do you think the seed dies? It dies in the wilderness. It dies in that lost and found box. And you know how desperate you are for God when you find that your new environment is a lost and found box? Waiting for him to relocate you, being like, I feel lost, I feel lost. He's like, that's just what it feels like to live in the four corners of this lost and found box. There's not much there. There are the other items that got left behind too. But everyone's like, all the items in there are just like staring at their own reflections because they don't feel like they're anywhere. That's just what happens in that box. And I feel like the Lord gives us grace. He's given me grace. He's like, you don't understand how severe this actually is. To be put into a place of transition is no joke. It's not for the faint of heart. You are literally dying to what you knew before, which was everything that you knew it to be. And you are being brought into a brand new thing. How are you supposed to respond to something like that? So the ticker seems to be this. Ticker seems to be, the Lord is like, I know where you are. But when you were in this box, part of how it rubs off on you is you feel lost. But I know you are found because I know where you are. But you are the item. You are the, I don't like to say item because it feels dismissive of our like masterpiece-ness of it all. But we're the ones that, as the thing in the box, can't help but feel lost. But the owner, the one who made you, the one who made me, he's like, you aren't lost to me because I know where you are. But by faith, you will have to believe this. Meaning, there's not going to be much left. You're just going to be like, God, I hope that you're really in this with me, okay? I hope it's enough faith to get me out of this box because this is nothing I can do long term. It is greatly worn down on me. I was just thinking about that earlier. As I was just feeling like God was showing me just how difficult it really has been. More so than I wasn't able to see before. Because I think a lot of what being in transition is going to be for you is it's like being in darkness. So you don't really know what's going on. That's why it's easy for you to feel lost. And by faith, you have to walk, right? Coming to know that you were always found. That you were placed in a place of transition. You were placed in the lost and found box for a time before you were relocated. I don't know if it gets more real than that. I don't know if it does. So I have empathy for you if you are experiencing this, right? And if you're like the geese like me, because of just what happens when you don't feel like you belong anywhere, you can't help but like keep trying to like check yourself out in the mirror just to see if you're still there, because you don't feel like you're here. You're like my senses are all off, man. My spidey sense has been going crazy ever since I got into this box. And it's overwhelming. I'm just like, oh my God, not this again. So I feel you. And I feel like the takeaway for this video, and this is really what we're becoming, ones who know and know by having walked through not knowing, know that he is with us, he sees us, he knows where we're going, he has a plan for us. His faithfulness alone will get us there. So that what, on the other side, we are liberated from ourselves. We're no longer looking to ourselves to prop up our own lives, hold things together, know where we're going. So then we're not anxious in the same way. We don't have the cares of the world in the same way that we did before. We're no longer wearing that. That was pruned off of us. Those grave clothes were taken off and they burned up in the fire. But right now, that world that maybe the Lord is like showing you, and that's like, that is the promise, it can feel so imaginary. And I'm like, God, like, but I'm here in this physical place. And I can't help but have this reaction to it, especially over time. And I thought in some way that, like, I guess you just don't know what it's like to have your like mental or your physical, your spiritual. You don't know how weak you really are, right? When you're a fish out of water. You don't really know what that's like until you're out of water. You're like, oh shit, like that old environment really did sustain me. And now I'm out of that old environment and I've never felt more weak. I've never felt more in need. I've never felt more lost. Because there's something that you also come to know in transition. The old life was never going to last anyway. It was temporary darkness for you. It wasn't a place that was ever going to be sustained forever. So then in that sense, it was not your permanent home. So you look back at that and you're like, well, I can't go back there. That door has been shut. Because I'm no longer that person who believes that that's where my life is anymore. Because I've been taken away from that. And now I'm living in the wilderness with the Lord, and he has given me manna. His faithfulness is coming in and not giving me a steak every day. The promise is the steak. The promise is the milk and honey. But in the wilderness, it's the manna. I think this is to show us his continual faithfulness and giving us just enough. Just enough to keep walking. You will find contentment in the wilderness because there will be limitation. And it's like my even my stomach, right? I used to eat a lot more than what I eat, but it's become so stressful that I don't want to do that. And so I feel like my stomach is shrank, you know? And I think that's evidence of what this environment has been like for me. Because a place of transition, a place in the wilderness it's a place of lack. It is a place of limitation, right? And that in that place, that's where you're going to come to know contentment. Contentment being like, I have peace here, but this is not my final place. I have found a way to experience joy here, but I cannot be sustained here forever. I'm still looking to you to make a way, but in the meantime, I've found some way to be here and be okay. That's what to me is contentment. I'm not fully satisfied here. I'm still looking to you to make a way, and because I've grown in this, because this has been a gift that has been given to me as a way of building character or whatever, because you're put in a place where you're forced to grow. Because a fish out of water, you got to grow, man. Like there's nothing left. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like you're taken out of what was comfortable, what was familiar to you, and you're brought into a place that's unknown. You're going to grow. You're going to grow. You can't help but grow. But then there comes the growing pains. I hate this place. But I'm sure I'm going to look back and be like, remember when they pushed that cart outside the door and the dogs would get all crazy? Me and God knows, right? Little squeaky wheel. They're like going around cleaning the rooms or whatever. But right now, I just want to fucking take that wheel and spray some WD-40 on it or something, or break it, throw it away. I'm sure I look back on it though and be like, God, like I already know I will. And that's what also pisses me off. I'm like, I know I'm going to thank you for this. But right now, my heart and my soul doesn't know the difference, doesn't see this as a blessing. My fight and flight mode has been activated because you've taken me out of what was familiar to me and what was sustaining me before. You've cut that off so I can't go back to it. And now I'm waiting on you, and I'm truly in a place of need. And I feel lost in this box. And by faith, you were saying you're not lost. You were found because I know where you are. And at the right time, I will relocate you. So you're essentially just waiting. Like, for real. Like, you may be like doing your things, right? Like I still have like a job or whatever. But I see my job as the thing that keeps me existing. It's like so that I can get another down payment on some more suffering in the future. Oh, like, yeah, I'm doing that thing so I can like keep existing. I love existing. Existing is the best. Yay. Right? So I'm not just like this lazy person, like, where everyone's it's like, nah, dude, like I'm having to work. Like it's just everything is just harder because there's just like no motivation or whatever. There's like no like, because I swear external validation was a thing. And you don't know it's a thing until it's taken away from you. And you're just like, damn, I didn't know how hooked I was on that. How I had so much hope in what I could see and know and what people could see about me or what they knew. Right? This dream that I was sold that was really propped up by like my own self-effort. I was like, oh shit, I can't go back to that, huh? But I'm in this lost and found box. So what do I do here? What can you do? That's what the Lord keeps telling me. What can you do? But you don't understand, when you feel lost like that, you're just like, you're squirrely, man. You can't help it. You're just like, oh my God, like, because you wake up in it. You wake up in the nightmare. You know what I mean? Okay? It's a nightmare in the current time that it's in. But I know looking back, I'm going to be like, God, that wasn't a nightmare. I mean, it was, but like, you sure filled in the gaps of that. These motherfuckers. Notifications. Anyways, what was I saying? You're not lost, friend. We're both lost, or we feel lost. But he knows where we are. And his faithfulness at the right time, I guess, will relocate us. But if you feel like that geese, where you've like lost a part of yourself, you lost a partner, you're grieving, a grieving geese. She's just looking at her reflection in the mirror. Am I still here? My reference of what here is or was is no longer anymore. What I was doing and how I was living before, I don't even know how to fully go back there anymore. I don't know how to go back. But I don't know what's forward. This shit's crazy. Like, what is that? You see that? What do you think that is? And you're just in this lost and found box. You're like, oh yeah, no, someone's coming for me. Yeah, false hope. Watch out. Don't worry. It was only intended for you to die a little bit more so you can be a little bit more lighter on your feet when I do show up for you. Thank you. Thanks. Inspiring, right? Yes. Yes, it is. Because you know why? Here's why. Being in this place of great need, in this lost and found box, You're lost. You don't know where you're supposed to go. That's why you're in need. You need the one who owns you to come and locate you. So then everything is put on him. Everything is put on him. Is he a truth teller to everyone else and a liar to me? Well, now I'm in this great place of need. I've cried out. What more can I do? What more can I do? I don't know the way. There's some freedom in that for you. There's some contentment that I've experienced in that. Oh shit, this isn't on me. Like, oh damn. But then I forget, right? And I'm the geese that looks in the mirror to see if I'm still there. It's like, oh, wait, no, but it's true. Like, he's framed it where now this is all on him. So when he comes through for you, when he comes through for me, and truly you are relocated, you'd be like, damn, you knew that shit. I just want to kiss you. I want to slap you. I'm angry. It's because I love you. Damn it, I hate you, but I love you. God, you've got me, man. You got me, right? Right? I think you will have that kind of experience in your own way. I know I'm going to be so mad at him, right? Oh, you put me through so much. Everything was so necessary. I had no fucking idea, right? No idea. I hope. It's cool, man. I'm good with it. My self-perception is... You should hear me whenever there's nothing recording. I don't know how people around me know how... I don't know how they see me, because I'm a big man, okay? I'm a big guy. I'm very expressive. You put me in a little box, all right? I'm going to start fucking jabbing shit, man. All right, anyways, be encouraged. Lost and found, but you're not lost because he knows where you are. So in that way, you're found. Congratulations. But tell that to your heart and your soul, all right? It feels lost. It's okay, little geese. I'm with you now. We're in this together, all right? So is he going to come for you before he comes for me? I will. No, I'm kidding. You can go if it's your time, and I'll wait.